I haven't done one of these videos for a while, so I wanted to kind of touch on a few things, but obviously, first of all, cover the Old Firm game. Of course, that was today. The first 45 minutes, certainly Celtic were well on top. I mean, they didn't create a great deal of chances, but they had a lot of the ball. And for Rangers, it was just a case of kind of trying to get get a foot on the ball and pass it around a wee bit, kind of trying to make something happen. But the passing, and to be honest, throughout the game, the defending wasn't that great. Although obviously we played the game largely for 10 men for probably at least an hour, maybe slightly more. The defending was actually pretty poor. It was kind of, it wasn't like it was like great defending. I mean, Goldson made a really good challenge at one point to stop Celtic getting a goal, and McCrory did the bit good defending as well. But largely defensively, we weren't that great. It was more kind of having bodies back there and made it difficult for Celtic. But say the first half, they certainly had the better of it. The goal, unfortunately, and it's the case with both goals. So the first goal has come from a mistake. Daniel Candeias, it's actually a Rangers free kick, and eventually we got possession of the ball, and Daniel Candeias tries to play a pass. And it's a loose pass, and Celtic kind of score from it, and Edouard, is running towards goal, and Goldson, puts a bit of a kind of lazy leg. It doesn't really kind of do anything. Worrell certainly should put a challenge in. He sticks with. He sticks with Edouard, but he doesn't really kind of do anything to stop him from putting the ball in the net. So a very poor defending on his part. So I mean that was obviously 1-0 at half time, and but obviously in between that, there's pretty much as soon as Celtic had scored, we actually started to play a little bit, kind of got in the game, played a little bit better, didn't create chances, but we're kind of starting to kind of ask questions, so to speak. And then, of course, and this is obviously going to be one of the things we're going to touch on. Morelos got sent off. Now, with Morelos this season, I mean, obviously Gerrard's obviously tried to defend him a lot of times. I've tried to defend him myself a lot of the times, but Scott Brown knows what he's doing. He's obviously, he's stood on the back of his heel. He's obviously, he knows that obviously there's a good chance Morelos is going to react. So he knows what he's doing, and Morelos has fell for it. But it's not the first time this season. I mean, this is the fifth time he's been sent off. He got sent off in the European game against Osijek, I remember, for something stupid. First game of the season against Aberdeen was sent off for something stupid. Kicking a player. Then another couple of red cards against Aberdeen. I think possibly he got sent off against Kilmarnock as well. But again, he just kind of reacts and throws an elbow at Scott Brown, and he had to go for it. It had to be a red card. There was no question about it. But at the same time, as disappointing as it is, Morelos getting sent off, and yeah, we've obviously lost points when he's not been in the team. We've lost points obviously from him getting sent off in games. The fact of the matter is, and the title race obviously, but it was over regardless of where we did win today. I mean, the gap would have been 7 points, but we wouldn't have even been kind of talking about a title race if it wasn't for the goals of Morelos. So I mean, it's a really difficult one to weigh up. I mean, you're talking about a player that could potentially be worth a lot of money to us, but with the disciplinary kind of issues now, there's nothing wrong with a player that plays on the kind of edge of the game, but a player that's been sent off so frequently. I mean, you get some players that go through their whole career and only get sent off about 5 times. This is in one season. And the other thing about Morelos recently is he's been obviously he seems to have caught the Sadiq bug of diving, to be honest. And it's it wasn't doing that last season. I mean, okay, maybe the odd game, but it's been something that's been very prevalent of him recently. And you don't want a striker in your team that you don't know whether he's obviously going to score the winning goal or play brilliantly. I mean, he's obviously brilliant in the game he won at Ibrox, although he could have certainly been sent off in that game as well. Or a player that is going to be a liability and going to get sent off. I'm not going to go as far to say that he is a bit of a liability. He's not a full liability. As I say, obviously, we wouldn't have actually even been in a title race this season if it wasn't for his goals and contribution. It's not just the goals. You can get a player that can score you 20-25 goals a season, but it's the work rate on top of that, and that's very difficult to find in a centre forward, although it's obviously more kind of prevalent these days where strikers are expected to obviously work a lot harder. So very, very disappointing. It was always going to be very, very difficult from there. But the funny thing is, after the send off, we kind of played a bit better. Again, got into the game a little bit. Lucky to get it at half time, only 1-0 down, though it has to be said. Celtic were well in control, and obviously glad to get in at half time. And give Gerrard a chance to, speak to the players and try and regroup for the second half. Second half, first 15 minutes again, Celtic were pretty well on top. And then 64, 66 minutes, Ryan Kent scored the equaliser, brilliant equaliser, takes on defenders. It's kind of Bayata, runs into the box, in the back of the net. Brilliant goal by Ryan Kent, and we're level. And then it only looked like one team was going to win. It only looked like Rangers were going to win the game from there. A couple of kind of really decent chances. Ryan Kent, the player did nothing in the kind of first half. Really came into the game in the kind of last 30 minutes. Plays the ball back to Ryan Jack. Ryan Jack, really, all he's got to do is hit the target to kind of get the second goal, and it's a really poor miss. And then there's a shot by Halliday, which is awful. And then what happens again is this after the equaliser, Celtic were really looking on the ropes. It actually looked like we were going to steal a victory, and it would have been the steal if we won it. There's no question about it. And then we do it again. We give away the ball. We have the ball with Tavernier, who's again, he's meant to be the Rangers captain. And you don't know if obviously Goldson's shown for it or it's Tavernier just been kind of slack with the ball. But again, the ball's been given away. It goes again towards kind of Edouard, who's defended against well, but then he rolls the ball across goal for Forrest, and it's 2-1 to Celtic. And there's not much time left from there. Rangers did have some opportunities. I mean, Joe Worrell could have obviously got the equaliser at the end. And then Tavernier, kind of last kind of dying seconds of the game, okay, he drills the ball across goal, and if someone gets a touch on it, it's brilliant. But the position he's in, he's inside the box. You expect him to have a go there, and he doesn't. So, I mean, obviously, Celtic certainly were good value for the win, but it's disappointing. I mean, it's like what the friend I was watching the game with, Martin, said. It was if we'd lost 1-0, we could have accepted that, but to kind of equalise and then kind of be in control and then to lose in that manner was very disappointing, it has to be said. But overall, I have to be honest, been happy with Gerrard this season. I mean, if that was last season we went down to 10 men, I mean, Celtic would have gone as an absolute mauling. So, yeah, we're 13 points behind. It's not great. You look at it and say it's not progress. But you've got to look at what we did in Europe as well. We got into the group stage, and I thought that was really good. In the Cups has been a bit disappointing, but it's been an issue all season, and I knew it wouldn't be an issue against Celtic. Teams that have obviously, sat behind the ball or, been very good defensively, likes of Aberdeen and Kilmarnock, we've really struggled against because, quite frankly, we don't have that number 10 position. And if you look at, obviously, the games since the Old Firm game at Ibrox, which obviously we won, and we've picked up very little wins since then. It's been kind of very kind of prevalent, that we don't have a number 10 to kind of play there. And when after Morelos got sent off, you've seen Ryan Kent kind of almost playing that central role. Looked like he looked at home in that role. You can imagine if maybe he was playing in behind Morelos or something. But it's then, who do you kind of play on the left side? So next season we'll obviously have some options with Jordan Jones and Hasty coming in. But overall, it's disappointing. Obviously, being 13 points behind, and don't know how many points we'll be behind at the end of the season. I mean, obviously we could beat them in the kind of final Old Firm, but there's not been any really much between the teams in the games. I mean, the first game Celtic dominated 1-0. We dominated the second game at Ibrox 1-0. Celtic had the better of this game and won 2-1, but there wasn't a great deal of chances for either team. I mean, Tierney had a really good effort at one point, good save from McGregor. But I wouldn't, as much of the ball Celtic had, I wouldn't say they had kind of chance after chance, but they certainly kind of controlled large parts of the game. But it's disappointing when you kind of get back to 1-1 and then to kind of both goals from my point of view, they're both caused by errors, individual errors, and it's cost us dearly this season. There was one with Worrell against Kilmarnock, gets caught on the ball. There's too many to name, and then even if you go kind of further back to your European campaign with Spartak Moscow, we could have been beating them home and away, and we obviously lost both games. I think we might have maybe drawn one of them. I'm pretty sure we lost both of them, and they were a team that were really there for the taking. But it's progress. I mean, points wise, it's not progress, but you look at the kind of performance wise, we've not kind of had any kind of hammerings or embarrassments. And listen, obviously, has obviously been a Rangers fan, and with Rangers Football Club, you don't expect to kind of get hammerings, but from where we've kind of come from, and especially from last season as well, the team's obviously a lot kind of tighter. I think there just needs to be an add-in of quality in the summer, not necessarily bringing in players for the sake. I think Jordan Jones and obviously the young lad Hasty from Motherwell should obviously add something. Kamara's looked a good player since he's come in, a player that's got good quality on the ball, but it's going to be very difficult. I mean, the job that Gerrard has, the job that Rangers has, is stop 10 in a row. I mean, we're in the position at Celtic, we're in the kind of mid to late 90s, so it's kind of roles reverse. So I mean, if we don't stop 10 in a row, eventually the pendulum's going to kind of swing our way again. But when, I don't know. You just don't know in football. It depends who Celtic kind of hire as manager, or if Morelos stays or he goes, or if Tavernier stays or goes. And for me, with Tavernier, I don't think that this Rangers team is going to win trophies with him as the captain, him and the team. That's just my opinion. I know a lot of people like him, and there's probably a few that feel the same as I do, that he's a bit overrated, to be honest. And the kind of quotes of like 8 million, that, I mean, I don't really kind of see him being worth 8 million. So if a club does offer that, I would certainly bite their hands off for it. So a lot of kind of uncertainty, but you know, we've got to obviously consolidate second place. Disappointing to obviously lose both cup games against Aberdeen, but I'm happy with Gerrard, and I think we should obviously stick with him, and you know, just try and obviously go again next season, because this season is over now. We've just got to win the games in front of us and get as many points as we possibly can. Well, that's it for this video. Kind of a little bit long-winded. I can apologise for that, but hopefully kind of be doing a bit more of them. Kind of got a bit the kind of hang of doing it now with the kind of phone. I've got a device for doing that, so I've obviously going to be able to work around not having the laptop. So that's all well and good. Okay. Well, thank you for watching.